Hello, my name is Barbara Day, and I'm a tutor in an adult learning center program, and I work with TASC students, TASC Prep. That's students who are prepping for their high school diploma, and also college prep. These are all adults. And I have created a series of math worksheets, and I will be creating videos for some of them. And this video is an explanation of one of the worksheets, number 7. And my students have printed copies of these. The way this works is they get printed copies via email or via postal mail, and they work on the problems, and when they're ready to discuss them, they call and I go over the problems with them that they may have missed. So if I thought if I put a video out with explanations, it's actually a better way they can see pictures of the explanation. So let's get started with quiz number 7. And the first problem is probability. You have a bag of marbles containing 3 green, 7 red, 2 white, and 10 black, for a total of 22 marbles. The question you ask here is, if you had to choose a marble, what is the probability that it's not green or white? Now, if it's not green or white, then it has to be the other colors, red or black. Now, if you look at red and black, the number, you have 7 red and 10 black. Now, you look at probability, that's the possible choices or outcomes divided by the total number of options. So, 7 red plus 10 black, you can see that here, divided by the total 22, 17 over 22, and on your worksheet, that answer is A. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 asks you to determine the volume of a can. Now, a can is a cylinder shape, okay? And the formula for the volume of a cylinder is given on your reference sheet that you'll have available when you take the TASC test. Now, the volume here, you see it in the formula, pi times r squared times h. Now, what were we given in the problem? We were given a diameter and we were given a height. Now, the diameter is 2 times the radius. Another way of saying this is the radius is 1/2 of the diameter. So we must first take our diameter of 3 inches and change it to our radius. That's 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Then we substitute in our formula volume equal pi r squared h, where pi is 3.14. The radius is 1.5, and that's squared, and then times the height, which is 6. Then when we square the 1.5, we get 2.25. Now when we multiply this all out, 3.14 times 2.25 times 6 will give us a volume of 42 and 39 cubic inches. Remember, volume is always in cubic dimensions. It doesn't have to be inches, it could be meters, centimeters, etc. All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3 deals with population density. And population density is usually people per square mile. Now here in this problem, we're given density and population of Rhode Island. Now, using the formula, and I gave you the formula, population density, we'll abbreviate that PD, equal population P divided by area A. Okay, now we are asked to find in this problem area. So we know population density and we know population. So the first thing we'll do, since we want A equals something, right? So we'll multiply by A, both the left side of the equation and the right side of the equation. On the right, we have multiplied by A and divided by A, which gives you A over A, which is equal to 1. And 1 times P is just P. On the left side, we have PD times A. Now we're still looking for A. Now A is over here and it's being multiplied by PD. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So we divide both sides by PD, and PD over PD is 1. 1 times A is just A. So A then is equal to population divided by population density. And we were given those values in the problem. The population, 1,055,046 people. The population density, 870.5 people per square mile. So when we divide this, we get the number 1,212, and that's in square miles. And the area we know is always square units. Answer on your worksheet is C. Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4, you were given that the charges for a house cleaning company. The base charge is $25. That's a fixed charge. $8 is the price they get for a bathroom. $4 is the price they get for other rooms. And we have our formula here. This is the price. And the price then is equal to fixed or base charge plus $8 times the number of bathrooms plus $4 times the number of other rooms. So this is what we have in the formula. And if you look on your sheet at your choices, you're given what? You're given B that matches what we have here for the price quote. Okay, let's go to number 5. Number 5, you're given and this is a problem of finding mean, median, mode, and range. Now, you're given a list of numbers and you're changing that list by adding 23. So to this list, you're adding 23. Now, your question is, which of these will not change? The mean, the median, mode, range will not change. Okay, let's look at the mean. The mean is found by adding up all the items and dividing by the number of items. This means that you add these items, and how many are there? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, there are 8 items. So we add them all up and divide by the number of items, which is 8. Now, if we're adding 23 to this list, this will change because now we have 9 items and we have a different total of 9. So the mean will change. Now, let's look at the median. Will the median change? The median is the midpoint. Of course, the median will change because we had here what? 8 items, now we have 9. Now, remember something about median. When you have an odd set of items, you have one single value in the middle. When you have an even set, you have 2 items in the middle, and you get an average of those 2 items. So The original set here where we had 8, there are 2 items there in the middle. You see them right there, 5 and 9, 14 divided by 2, the median is 7. Over here where we added the 23, now we have 9 items. We have the 4 here, and we have the 4 here, and the middle number is 9. So the median is changing, okay? Now, the mode. The mode is in the list is the number that appears the most. Now, if you look at this list, that number is 2. Look at this list, the number is still 2. So the mode will not change, all right? So the answer you would pick would be C. Now, the range is high minus low. Now, of course, that would change because we're adding a bigger number. So range here would be 23 minus 2. Over here, range will be 21 minus 2. So the range will change. So answer C, the mode will not change. Okay, let's go to number 6. Number 6 deals with Karen, a grandmother who has a $300 budget to buy shoes for her grandchildren. Each pair of shoes costs $40. Which inequality represents her budget? Now, inequalities are things that look like this one is less than or equal. And if you turn this to the right, it would be greater than or equal. Or you could have just less than, or you could have greater than. Okay, let's just think about this. If she bought 7 pairs of shoes, what would it cost? 7 times 40, 280. She would have enough money because that's under the 300. But if she bought 8, tried to buy 8, 8 times 40 is 320, she would not have enough money. That means when you multiply 40, which is the price per pair of shoes, times the number of shoes she can buy, it has to be less than or equal to 300. Just like our 280 was less than or equal to 300. That answer on your sheet is D. Okay, let's go to 7. 7 has some information. There's a lot of words in that problem, but some information you really don't need. And this happens in problems. Just make sure you know what information to choose from the word problem to solve the problem. The 25 people at the picnic is just extra information. Okay, you're serving lemonade and you're serving it in cone-shaped paper cups. And the problem here, you want to find the volume of that cone-shaped paper cup. Now, the volume of a cone you need, and that's also on your reference sheet, right here, is volume equal 1/3 times pi r squared h. Diameter is given 2.5 inches, height 3.625 inches. Now, just as we said we were working with our can, the cylinder, the radius is half of the diameter, or diameter is 2 times the radius. Now, so we have to take our radius, 2.5, divided by 2, and we get 1.25 inches, half the diameter. Now we substitute these values in the formula here. 1/3 times pi, 3.14, and the radius, 1.25 squared, times the height, 3.625. 1.25 squared is 1.5625. And so when you multiply 3.14 times 1.5625 times 3.625, you get 17.79. Now that's multiplied by 1/3, which is the same as dividing by 3. 17.79 divided by 3 gives you 5.93 cubic inches. Okay, now let's go to Number 8. Number 8 is a similar triangle problem. And similar triangles are in ratio and proportion, okay? So, but there's one thing about this problem, you have some units that are different. All your units have to be the same. Now, this says 1 1/3 feet. And this is inches, this is inches. So in order to make the comparison, we have to convert this 1 1/3 feet to inches. 12 inches is 1 foot. 1/3 of 12 is 12 over 3, which is 4. So 1 1/3 feet is 12 inches plus 4 inches equals 16 inches. Now we can set up our proportion. Now look at your triangles. This X corresponds to this 10. This 16 inches, which is the 1 1/3 feet, corresponds to this 8 inches. So when we set it up, we have X over this value, X over 16, and 10 over 8. Okay, this is the way it looks. Now you can cross multiply. 8 times X is 8X. 16 times 10 is 160. So we have 8X is equal to 160. Now we must solve for X. X is connected to 8 by multiplication. So if we divide by 8, we get X on the left, divide 160 by 8, and we get 20 on the right. Remember to keep an equation in balance. Remember the rule, whatever you do to the left side, you must do to the right side. So the X is equal to 20 inches, and that is answer D. Okay, let's go to our next problem. Our next problem, we're given a budget of $305 to buy mulch. A bag of the mulch costs $7.50 and the delivery charge is $35.75. Your question is, how many bags of mulch can you buy? Now, the first thing you want to do is subtract your delivery charge of $35.75 from $305. That gives you $271.25. Now your question is, how many 750s are there in $271.25? Well, we can find out by dividing. $271.25 divided by $7.50 gives you 36.2. We cannot buy partial bags, so the question was how many full bags, and the answer is 36, which will be answer B. Okay, let's go to our next problem, number 10. Number 10, you're given a formula that gives the height in inches of a plant T weeks after it's planted. And that formula is H minus 15 equal to 3.2 T. Now, if we add 15 to both sides, we'll see something very familiar to us. It looks like our standard linear equation, okay? So add 15 to both sides, right here, minus 15 plus 15 gives 0. And on the right side, we have 3.2T plus 15. So our equation is H equal 3.2T plus 15. Now, does that look familiar to you? It looks like your linear equation, where y equals mx plus b. And remember we said m was the slope, which is the rate of change. B is the y-intercept, or the initial value. Okay, so that means that this 3.2 coefficient of the variable is the slope, or rate of change. So that means 3.2 represents the number of inches per week that the plant is increasing, and 15 represents the starting or initial value of 15. And our answer is C. Okay, let's go to our next problem. Next problem, you're given a wage sheet of an employee who is paid regular hours and overtime hours. Now look in the wage sheet. You have $25 per hour, that's the regular pay. 26, the normal hours. Wages with overtime is $8.50, and the overtime hours is what we are looking for. And you're given that the pay is $40 an hour for overtime. So, what do we want to do first? Well, first we want to multiply the number of hours, the normal hours, times the normal rate to get how much he made in normal wages for the week. So 26 times 25 is $650. Now we know his normal wages. We were given his overtime wage, the wage with the overtime pay. So if we get the difference, which is subtraction, 650 from 850, we get $200. That's the overtime pay for the week. Now, if we try to find X, X is the hours that he worked overtime. So we know what he made overtime. We know that $40 per hour is what he's paid for overtime. So if we divide the $200 by $40, we get 5, and that would be the overtime hours for the week. Okay, let's go to number 12. Number 12 is a spreadsheet. We want to find the cost of the trim around a rectangular window. Now, this is a perimeter problem, and the perimeter of a rectangle is the formula here, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, so if we do this in feet, and we know what it costs per feet, we can, per foot, we can multiply the sum of these two by the price per foot. So, substituting in this formula, 2 times A7, notice that's the length, plus 2 times B7, that's the width, and that's going to give you the perimeter. Multiply that by the price per foot, and you will have the cost of the trim in this column, okay? All right, so that would be the cost of the trim. Okay, let's look at, now we have 13 and 14, which refers to this table of information. What happens is, in this problem, we have Deidre went on an interview and she has narrowed down her choices to 2 companies, and she's trying to decide which one is best for her. Notice you're given the starting salary, you're given the raises, and you're given transportation costs. Our first problem says, if she took the job at Networks, which is here, what would be her annual salary? Well, we look at our monthly pay, that's $2,200. Multiply that by 12, and we get her annual salary, $26,400. If she's getting 10% after 1 year, she's getting 10% of this $26,400. 10% converted to a decimal, 0.1 times $26,400 is $2,640. Just to shift the decimal point. Add this up and you get $29,040. That would be her salary after a year. And on your sheet, that would be answer D. Okay, now still using this table, let's go to number 14. Number 14 says, what can Deidre expect her monthly cost for transportation to be if she chooses to work for Applied Systems? Now, notice that they give her the transportation cost 20 gallons of gas per month. Go back here. There it is, 20 gallons of gas per month, $50 per month for parking, okay? So we put that here. Now, we know what the parking is, $50 a month, but do we know what the cost of the gas is? Do we have information to calculate it? No, because in order to calculate the cost of those 20 gallons, we need to know what 1 gallon costs. Since they did not give us the cost of the gas per gallon, we do not have enough information, so we cannot calculate it. So the answer would be E, not enough information is given. Okay, let's go to 15. 15 is an interest problem. Interest equal principal times rate, which is a decimal, times the time, which is in years. Now, interest can be interest on a money borrowed, or it could be interest on a savings. In this case, it's a CD, okay? A CD at the bank. Okay, now we have our principal, we have our rate, 7% converted to a decimal, 7 over 100, because just remember, percent is a ratio of a number to 100. So if you had 150%, you have 150 over 100 or 1.5. Okay, the time is 2 years. Now let's just substitute that in the formula. 5,000 times 0.07 times 2, and that would give you what? $700. Okay, and this is a grid problem, so you bubble it in the grid, and we have it here. You have 700. Now, this won't count when they grade you. You have to put it in the right column in the grid, okay? But I think it's a good idea to use this just so it gives you the guide to where you should put it. Now, this 7 started here, but you could have started at this column. The last column you could start would be here, because then you have 7, 0, 0. No blanks between columns, okay? Now, let's go to the next problem. The next problem, which is also a grid problem, and somebody's making dinner, and they use some red pepper, and they know a half teaspoon of the pepper, making a sauce that requires red pepper, and they know that 8 servings of the sauce requires a half teaspoon. Your question is, how much red pepper would you need for 4 servings? Well, it's nice and neat the way they gave this problem, because 4 is half of 8, right? 4 is half of 8. So if 4 servings is 1/2 as much as 8, that means you have 1/2 as much as 1/2 teaspoon. So 1/2 times 1/2 is 1 over 4. Numerators times numerators, denominators, 2 times 2 is 4. So the answer is 1/4. Now, in the grid, this is the way you bubble the fractions. Well, I put it here, 1/4. Now, in the grid, you bubble in the 1, then the slash, and then the 4. You could have started as another column, but you can't start it after this 3rd column, because you must have that slash, okay? Now, as always, as I go over these problems, if you still have things you don't understand, remember we can individually work together to make sure you understand it, okay? Now, let me go to 17. 17 is a construction company, and they receive a bonus if they complete a project early. How does this bonus work? Well, if they complete 1 day early, they get $1,000. If they do more than a day, they get $1,500 for each day more than one. In other words, if they got, well, if they completed a project 5 days earlier, early than what was projected, then they get 1,000 for the 1 day, and then 1 from the 5 before additional days, and it'll be 4 times the 1,500. So it'd be 6,000 plus 1,000 or 7,000. Now here's the formula. This is the bonus. 1,000 plus 1,500 times the days they completed early minus 1, because you already have the 1 here for the 1,000. Our question: what is the amount of the bonus if the company completes a project in 10 days? All right. Now, if they complete the project in 10 days, what would be the bonus? They completed 10 days early. Okay, so let's see what we'll substitute. Bonus is 1,000 for the first day, 1,500, and the days is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. So we have 1,000 plus 9 times 1,500, which is 13,500. 1,000 for the 1 day, 13,500 for the additional 9 days, gives you a total of 14,500, and the answer is B. Okay, now 18 and 19 refers to this graph. And this graph represents minutes of regular exercises, which is on this x-axis, and the y is resting heart rate, okay? But notice you can see the trend here. Up here at above, a little above 75, 10 minutes, right? But down here, which is around 60, 40 minutes. So you notice that as you increase the minutes of exercise, your resting heart rate decreases, okay? Now, the first question they ask you is, what would you expect the regular resting heart rate to be for 20 minutes? Now, on the graph, you have 20 minutes, and what you could do, you see it's coming down, right? So about 15 minutes, if you look on the graph, it's about 70. But they didn't put it in what these was here, but it's resting heart rate is in heartbeats per minute. Okay. Now, 25 minutes is about 66. So now we know, based on how those values are decreasing, that our answer has to be between the 66 and the 70. And the closest answer they gave us there was B, which is 67. Okay, now let's look at number 19, which we've already answered on 19, because we see that the minutes of regular exercise increasing is lowering the resting heart rate. So what conclusion can you draw? Well, it can only be what? It can only be D, which says regular exercise by a person in this age group will likely lower her or his resting heart rate. In other words, as you increase the minutes you exercise, you're going to lower your heart rate. So the answer is D. And then our last question, we're looking at this class schedule and what is happening at 7:30 a.m. Now notice all of your classes are 1 hour. So English is from 7 to 8 a.m. 7:30 is between that time. So what is happening? A, the English class. Okay, that concludes this exercise. And I thank you for sharing. And if you have any questions on anything, we can go over it, like I said, on the individual basis. So see you in the next session.